All right, everyone, welcome back once again to another Beefcast production. I'm your casting host, Beef. Joining me once again is last game's winner, Wendell, aka DC30. How you doing, Wendell?
I am doing good today.
Very good. Those are some nice games that you just showed us against Eyebrows. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
So you'll be moving in to join these two players here in the round of 4 just after this series. How are you feeling going into your next matchup?
The guy I'm going to be playing is pretty tough, but I just have to build SCVs, so I'll be all right.
There you go. Build SCVs. Stay calm. You'll win. All right, but let's get into the matchup right here. The matchup at hand, once again, is going to be a PVZ in the round of 4. In the top right-hand corner of IPL Antigua Shipyard, we do have the Orange Protoss Psionicist.
Yes, in the bottom left we have Zwirwel, who is also known as Apu, and he changed his name or is on a different account or something like that.
Yeah. Cool. So we got Zwirwel down here, actually going to be going for a spawning pool on 15 supply. A little bit different from a normal Zerg build, so I would expect there to be a 16 hatch following this up. He did actually scout relatively early with his drone, which is not something that you see done too often in this matchup, but he does manage to make his way over into the Protoss base just as that forge is going to be completing, so he knows that it is going to be, in fact, a standard forge fast expand, and this looks like it could evolve into a pretty standard ZVP at this point. 16 hatch does in fact go down, so with the forge fast expand, the Nexus is going to be coming out right now, and both these players are going to be opting into a pretty long macro game right away.
Yes, so Fast Forge expand is pretty good versus Zerg, I noticed. I guess that's the standard for Zerg ZVP.
Yeah, it's most certainly the standard right now, but something that's very not standard right now is the extractor that was just plopped down here on 17 supply for Zwirwel. The probe not in the main base right now, and actually trying to put down a couple of cannons down here behind the natural of Zwirwel, but chasing that probe out of there, making sure to keep that drone on there. Very nice job by our Zerg player, denying any kind of aggression right there from that probe. With that gas going down, I'd like to see a couple of drones going to be making their way into that relatively quickly, but that's going to allow the Protoss player, or excuse me, the Zerg player, to get a very fast speed. Speed is actually going to allow him to put on a lot of aggression. This is a matchup that I'm very familiar with, and so with that aggressive speed, you're going to be able to put on some damage possibilities that you wouldn't normally see in this matchup. However, Protoss player doesn't know that there's already a second gas coming out, but instead is actually going to be dropping 3 cannons, so opting to go heavily defensive right now is our Protoss player, and there's almost no way that the Zerg is going to be able to make his way into that natural at this point. So we'll see how the Zerg chooses to move his strategy around based on what he's seen. The Zerg, in fact, did only see 2 of the cannons coming up right now. Saw that 1 had already completed, but he should have been able to see how many cannons there were there, and a 4th cannon going to be coming down for Psionicist right now. So not relying too much on his wall and his units to defend himself, he says, screw it, I'll go for 4 cannons, that's what I'm going to do. Double gas is going to be coming down right now for Psionicist, going to be starting to mine out of both of those, and only 2 probes, alright. 2 probes now in that assimilator, as a 3rd base is going to be making its way down for Zwirwel. And Zwirwel's actually looking pretty decently right now as a pause comes out from Psionicist, so we'll see what's up with this. Alright guys, thanks for that little bit of patience there on both of our ends, as there was a bit of a real-life emergency on the part of our Protoss player. Something about his neighbor falling off his roof? I don't know. What was your take on that there, Wendell?
Like I said earlier, I'm glad they got free healthcare in Europe. So I hope his neighbor's okay.
Yeah, me too. Something about a broken leg, kind of compound fracture, I don't even know. Anyway, we're back into the game now here on Antigua Shipyard. Protoss player opted to go up all the way to 3 gates right now, 4 gates actually, as he's got another 4th gate in the front, and Stargate as he's chrono boosting out his first Void Ray here. So we'll see how the Zerg player does go ahead and choose to react. Roach Warren and Evolution Chamber coming down at about 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So right now the Zerg player is actually playing a extremely standard Zerg game, following up the timings pretty effectively. The second of the... Excuse me. Oh, sorry, I got a snack a little bit in between the pause there. And some of that was just giving me a little bit of an issue. So... The second set of gases, bringing them up to fourth gases, were a little bit early. You normally see that right about the time that you're going to start your layer production, and we don't have a layer out just yet from our Zerg. So a little bit unfortunate in that regard. And our Protoss player still here on 2 bases is opting now to go into a Twilight Council. 1 Void Ray is on the way, going to be making its way over here into the 3rd, and Void Ray going to be charging up onto one of these queens, and it doesn't actually look like he's going to choose to attack that queen. Rather, he's just going to do a little bit of a flyby right now. 2 more queens going to be coming over here to intercept that Void Ray, and the Void Ray pinned between a rock and a hard place, but in this case the rock and the hard place are just 2 queens at either location, and the Void Ray does fall down just to those 4 queens right there. Excellent defense there by our Zerg player Zwirwel.
Yes, I'm noticing now after the queen buff, popping 5 queens at the beginning is pretty standard now, I guess.
Yeah, against Terran, getting 5 to 7 queens is pretty standard. Against Protoss, not as much. Is actually opting to go for a 6 queen right now. I believe that is, yeah, a total of 6 queens. So that provides you with a lot of defensive utility and a couple of queens to spread creep, which is important against Protoss. Not quite as important as we would say against Terran, but still very good to have a lot of creep on the map against any race.
I never underestimate the creep. I'm not going to talk about OP, but creep is pretty good stuff to have. I wish Terran had something like that. Yeah. But scan's what it is. A scan is a scan.
Yeah. So right now our Protoss player opting to go up all the way to 7 gates right now, dropping that Robo Bay and starting Blink. So it looks like he's going to be hitting a pretty aggressive timing at this point. Observer making its way across the map, going to be scouting for what the Zerg player does in fact have. And the Zerg player at this point just now finishing up, Lair Tech and a Baneling nest coming down. So he looks like he's going to be going into something along the lines of Banelings. A little bit weird. We'll see what his layer tech choices are. There it is, drops. Drops and Overlord speed going to be coming out in addition to Baneling speed and +2 carapace, as well as road speed. So it looks like it's going to be some pretty aggressive drops here by our Zerg player. Macro Hatch going to be coming down quite late from where you would want the Zerg timing to normally hit. But with the amount of banked money that he had, he's going to be able to produce a ton of Zerglings and Banelings. So we'll see. How do you think the drops are going to play for our Zerg player here?
There's no way I can predict this. Let me see what the Protoss has. I think if he can get behind and drop those Banelings on his mineral line, it'd be pretty nasty. I see that coming, and yeah, it's going to be nasty.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate that he's not going to be able to have +2 melee attacks before he would be looking to drop that, because a +2 Baneling actually one-shots a worker. No longer requires 2 Banelings. Only going to require 1 there. Able to drop 4 Banelings into the mineral line right there. Easily rack yourself up 20 to 30 kills on some workers. But the Protoss player content to sit here on his 2 bases, getting his 3rd base up now. And he's actually going to be in a relatively good position against this Zerg, who is staying on a mid-game army composition. Infestation Pit finally going to be coming out right now. That is probably going to be to either Azure Infestors or make his way up to Hive Tech. Hive Tech is really the goal right now from the Zerg player. It's too late for the Zerg player to go for a mid-game victory. The drop play is going to be nice, but it's highly unlikely that it's going to actually secure a victory for our Zerg player at this point. So Zerg is going to be looking at a late-game option, getting up to that Greater Spire technology off of the Hive Tech, and going to be making a pretty big play.
This is looking. If I was playing the Zerg right now and I noticed all these hatcheries with this observer, I'd be freaking out, because those larvas are going to start building up, and I wonder if he even knows what's going on right now.
Well, the observer was actually right on top of all of the overlords with speed as 40 of those Banelings morphed. So I think he's got a pretty good idea what's going on with the Zerglings and the banelings there, and we'll see how he does choose to react to that. +3 weapons is actually on the way now, still being chrono boosted out, so very nice job by Psionicist here, managing to get that out as soon as possible. +3 weapons is incredibly effective against the Zerg, especially with the Zerg only having +2 armor right now. There's going to be a pretty big upgrade advantage for the Protoss, and we'll see how that comes into play. Hive Tech is on the way now for our Zerg player. We'll see if he does indeed drop a Spire or not. If he does not drop a Spire, then his Greater Spire tech is going to be stopped by, it's going to be delayed quite a bit, or he might even be going for Ultralisks. With the +2 weapons for melee, he might be going for Ultralisks.
Yeah, this is a bad position for Sion. I think just the economic lead he's going to have after this drop. Even if it fails, he's still going to be able to defend his hatcheries.
Yeah, the Overlords are looking like they're going to be making their way up over to the 3rd base. I'm not sure if that's actually going to be their final destination right now. Right now, moving actually toward the middle base, and looks like he might actually be going for the main. So we'll see. Colossus now does have the Thermal Lance upgrade. With that +3 attack going to be finishing up very, very soon here. These Colossi are going to be incredibly effective at sweeping up the Zerglings and the Banelings, but Overlord's going to be making their way into the main right now. Some of these are filled with Banelings and some of them not so much. The second wave of Overlord's going to be dropping as well, and Bane Rain all over the mineral line, and a lot of those probes do die. A lot of them actually right there at just 2-3 HP left. And look at that, +2 melee attacks is going to be finishing up at the same time. If he had waited 20 more seconds, he would have killed every single one of those probes. Zergling's going to be putting a lot of pressure onto this main nexus, and we'll see how the Protoss player does choose to react, blinking up a lot of those Stalkers as he starts to Bane Rain all over those Stalkers, and every single one of the Stalkers up there on the high ground does fall. All of the anti-air composition of the Protoss is down to just only 3 Stalkers left, and the Protoss is now opting to counterattack with the rest of his army. And we'll see how this does in fact play out. Zerglings and Banelings continuing to mop up absolutely everything in the main of the Protoss right now. One Immortal going to make his last stand, see if he can put his name to the test against these Zerglings, but he failed that test as the rest of the troops move out across the map. Even some of these probes joining the party. 7 of the probes that were initially injured by those Banelings going to be moving out right now as Zerglings are going to be making their way around right now, trying to get a good flank onto these Colossi. And the force fields are very nice, protecting some of these Colossi, but the Zerg army is just too all-encompassing, managing to get a very nice round onto the Protoss army right now. There's a lot of force fields stockpiled by these sentries, but Roach is doing an excellent job of trying to snipe down some of these sentries, minimize the effectiveness of the force fields. And right now the Zerg player is going to have a gigantic bank to be able to remax and remax. Meanwhile, the Zerg units in the main base of the Protoss have managed to completely wreck his economy. And the Protoss player, GG's. So Psionicist dropping the first game here. Zwirwel playing an excellent macro game. Drops completely not expected by our Protoss player there. Very nice job.
I've never seen that's pretty nice strategy used there.
Yeah, drops. They proved to be very effective right there. Managed to take out the main base economy. Very nice job here by our Zerg player. So we're going to be making our way into game number 2 now. I've been your casting host. Joining me was Wendell, aka DC30. Thank you very much, Wendell. And we'll catch you guys in game 2.